Wait, what's the meaning of that name? I can. Whoever it is, I like it.
It's linked on the homepage.
Yeah. Yeah, they just call it effect. Like if they like you're right. But hey, you're ready. Boy, there's a one thing I like it was the US is it's up to third place. So the US doesn't want to give something here. Like they think it'll let them get yeah, if they're adding stuff like very, very low. Why some people say they can't break. They're already. If you've ever had like the best ones come from the garage, they're not that expensive. The popular one that everyone knows, but you can't get away with that because it's a little more hard time. Yeah, I think it's a happen from the US. You can bring in, I think, a certain amount of work that you can bring that is outside. We have a like hilarious part is where he put that back. He bought it. And well, we not get free rest place because you're going to be right and I'll get the well with you.
I was reading.
Giant wall of just cigars and two drops. Wonderful, there it is.
Good or bad? You expected more? Oh, the two groups. Oh, the entire class.
None of them are code. He's been waiting for years.
Well, it's more the fact that like they're trying.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just studying.
Are they behind because they don't like coding was?
They're behind in the laboratory. Part of it. But
He's smart, that-
Mondays, Wednesdays, which
For us,
ones
we have the odds.
Thursday, we usually get.
Is that perfect?
Um,
That's something you don't hide everything.
So
It's like we either don't.
they have their little presentations on Wednesdays.
We call them little presentations, but they're like,
No, they're like a minute long or so.
I know, like, but like we had those in optical too, but like they weren't little. It's like they were like little time wise, but they're like not little time wise, not like little effort wise.
Yeah, no. Been getting this the most numbers that I was like, oh, yeah, making the slides, but also like,
It's usually like the data analysis. The slides telling 30 seconds.
oh, yeah, I mean, but they have data analysis anyways.
Yeah.
It's just they happen to add like bias. That's the big problem. And so Tuesday night, I held an extra on accident office hours. No, everyone was there. So I went down to help someone log in. And then I kept getting asked questions. Then more questions. Tuesday for their presentation, and they should already have implemented it. They were like, they were like,
They know how to do it for you.
they have seen it done, and they have example code. So, yeah. How quickly I become. Yeah, how are you? Are you looking at me?
Like you're like writing everything.
Right? Say hi, that says. Me. I need you to remember. No, I just don't really. I do. It's not about the yeah, it's about.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Welcome to day 3 of Python Decal. Today we are going to introduce you guys all to GitHub. It is I will say this, it can be quite painful to learn GitHub the first time. It is quite shocking. At least I found it very shocking the first time I learned it. You have to kind of memorize a few things. I mean, you can look at your notes, but you'll eventually memorize them. But it is a bit of a process. You're going to run into a ton of bugs. That is just unavoidable. You're going to get errors. I'm sorry, there's just no way to avoid it. It's part of the learning process. But eventually you'll become familiar with what the certain errors are doing, and it'll just become easier. But yeah, so might get a few errors today, but we're going to get started. Okay, so this is the list of what we're going to do today. This is just for reference. Okay, so with the people around you, can you answer these 3 questions from last time?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Video game, but also that your character can only cast 1% of the time.
Yeah.
Unless it's
What is it? It's just I still remember like for like days to get this special item. But yeah, I'm paying like yeah. And then
Man, like,
Save, they're all done. Hopefully. That's my next slide. Did you finish it? Yeah.
was it like fine with
I think so. I left off some like information on the installation so everybody's like, when I type my password, it doesn't show up. And I'm like, no, that's not.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, so, but I think it hopefully it went well. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, we're gonna come back together. Here's my okay. Can anyone answer the first question for me? Can you define any of the following commands? You can also look at your notes and the slides and Google. Yeah.
CD is change directory.
Cool. What does it do?
It basically changes where you are right now to where you specify.
Yep. Good. Totally. Yep. So you can jump around to different folders. Who can define PWD for me? Yes.
Print working directory.
What does it do?
It basically just shows the directory that you're working on.
Good. Yeah. Shows your location in your computer. What does ls do? Yeah.
This like all your folders.
Yep. In your files. Yep. Perfect. And then what does mkdir do? Yeah. Yep. Good. So it makes a whole new folder that you can put stuff in. Okay, great. Now, question number 2, what's the difference between a directory and a file? Yeah. Essentially, yes. File is basically a text file, Python file, anything like that. Can't hold other files, though. What's the difference between a .txt file and a .py file? Yes.
The TXT doesn't recognize commands.
Essentially, yeah. So txt is just for text, py is for Python. So they're just files in different languages. Okay, are there any questions from yesterday? Cool. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna do a super quick terminal review. Basically, we already defined a few of these commands, but these are 2 other important ones that you should know. So you have print working directory, tells you where you are. CD changes where you are. ls tells you everything that's inside. Make directory, hence the name. rm removes a file. Be very careful with this command. I will teach you how to use it at some point, but it is very dangerous. So use wisely. And cp copies things. So if you want to make a duplicate, you can use cp. So these are just most common commands, but of course there's like millions of them. You can Google it. These are flags. So I didn't show you any flags yesterday, but I'll show you one today. So ls-a, you sometimes have things called hidden files. I'll get into that later, but you can add a -a into the command. cp, I already wrote that one. cp-r lets you duplicate an entire folder. More on that later. And then cat, as we used yesterday, prints everything from that file. Okay, so we'll be using the terminal again today, so you'll get a lot more practice with it, and we'll walk you through more examples of how to use it. If you're really, really confused, that is totally fine. Okay, but before we do that, did everyone get a chance to install their SSH key? Can you raise your hand if you do not have it installed? Okay, can you work on that? Is it because you ran into a bug? Or a problem? Or you just haven't gotten to it yet?
Problem.
Okay. All right, cool. Does anyone else have a problem with their SSH key? Okay, cool. Then we are going to get started. I might do this with you, but we are going to run this command in your terminal to make sure, or you can try it right now. Open up your terminal. For Windows, that is git bash, not PowerShell. And please type in SSH space dash capital T space git at github.com. If you get you successfully authenticated, you are good to go. If you do not get that, please raise your hand. Okay. There's a hand in the back. Oh. Yeah, there are a lot of people. Wait, we're gonna take like 5 minutes to help everyone and try to help the people around you too.
So that's what then.
Yes. Getting the message asking you for yes or no, type in yes.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
And then you can call it in the yes or no question.
There. Type the thing in together, I'll tell you. Well, they think we can prove to solve it. Yes. So yeah, yes, and yeah, type in staying on time.
Yeah, try to see. That is just.
Oh.
And just.
Who still doesn't have their SSH installed? Is there anyone else? Yeah, there's someone in the back. Who is in the back? And you secretly under there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea when I don't know what I'm here.
That's a fine.
Yeah, that yeah, you're gonna have to. And this is copying your key from the computer. No, okay, we're gonna keep going. If you have any more problems, someone will hopefully come around. But we are going to get started with GitHub. I have a quick question. Did you guys like it when I gave you that short introduction before we use the terminal, or is it better if we just jump straight into it? Raise your hand if you want me to do the short lecture beforehand. Raise your hand if you don't. Okay, I see no one voted except for like 2 people, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, so Git and GitHub are 2 different things. I mentioned this yesterday, but they are of the same family, so you don't really need to differentiate them in your coding practice, but that's just good to know. Okay, so I'm gonna throw up this diagram. I'm gonna walk through this really quick. It'll make much more sense when we actually run these commands on your terminal. Okay, so where do I begin? Actually, I'm gonna go to the other diagram. Okay, so your code lives here on your computer. We did that yesterday. You made your Python file, you ran it. All of that was done on your computer, doesn't need the internet, except for downloading VS Code. However, if you want to share your code, then you need to put it through GitHub. You can put it on the internet. This is done with a command. We've run commands in the terminal. It's called git push. That is how you get your code from your computer to the internet. How you get code from the internet to your computer is with this command called git pull. We're going to walk through all those steps later, but essentially it's just a matter of calling commands in your terminal to get it from your computer to the internet. Okay, so going back, GitHub, well, Git essentially is a way to track your progress. So before you can push your code to the internet, you first need to save it to your remote computer. So your current working directory, that's where your folder is, that's where your Python file currently is. So on your terminal, if you open it up and you're in Python decal, that would be your working directory. Now, if I want to save my work with Git, I would call git add. This essentially means I'm adding it to a staging area. Essentially, it's in progress of being saved to your drive or saved with Git. Then, once I'm happy with everything I've added to my staging area, I call git commit. Then I have to attach a little message like what I did. So if I added a file, then I would say git commit adding a file. Then, once I'm happy with this is all done with Git, I can technically keep repeating this process over and over and over again. Okay, but with GitHub, once we're here, you can then put it on the internet with git push. So your 3 most important commands that you need to learn today are git add, git commit, and git push. Okay, what are your questions? Okay, it'll make more sense when we actually use them on the computer. This is a reminder of what GitHub looks like. These are just some vocab words. I'll go through them later, but these are just up here for reference. And we're going to do this together. Okay, so please have your terminal open. Feel free to raise your hand if you're still having trouble with SSH. Okay, can we see my terminal in the back? Can I get a thumbs up from people in the back row? Thank you. Okay, so for this, I am going to go to the Python decal directory that we made yesterday. How do I do that? I'm in my home directory. What should I call first? Good. CD, and then what?
Python decal.
Yes, so CD Python decal, and there I am. Okay, now I'm going to call ls, so it tells me everything inside of Python decal. Yesterday, we made test.py and we made test.txt. So those should be the only 2 things inside of your Python decal folder. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to make another new directory. I'm going to call my directory, you're going to call yours a different name, but I'm going to call make directory, and I'm going to call mine Brianna, and then I'm going to call it decal. No. You're going to call it your name underscore decal. Okay. Now, I've made a new directory, so if I call ls, there it is. There is my new folder. That's a folder. These are files. These things are not the same as this. We can put stuff inside of a directory. Okay, so how do I enter this new directory? CD again. Yep. So CD, and then I call Brianna, or whatever your name is, decal. Okay. If I call ls, there should be nothing inside. It should be completely empty. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially transform this folder, and I'm going to give it basically superpowers with one command. So I'm going to call git init. And now I've just turned my directory into a repository. Okay, so a repository is very, very similar to a directory, except you can save your progress with Git. You cannot do this with other directories. Directories that are not associated with Git will not save your progress for you. But because we called git init, we initialized our folder, Brianna decal, and now it has basically special powers. Okay, so that's what git init did. Now I can call git status. And it gives me information about my folder. So I'm going to get more into what this means later, but essentially this means that we have no history. Nothing is going on currently with our repository. Everyone should be seeing this message. Okay, can I get a hands up if we're not on this step? Do you have a question? No? Do you want me to scroll? Do you want me to repeat anything? No? Okay. All right, we're going to keep going. All right. Now I have made a remote repository. I have made a folder with superpowers on my computer. Now I need to do the exact same thing, but on the internet. So you're going to want to go to GitHub, and we're going to make a new repository. Okay. This is what, whoop, oh, that works. Okay. This is what your GitHub homepage essentially should look like. Are we here? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, cool. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to this little green symbol. Okay, on that green symbol, I'm going to click it, and I should get to this page. Okay, now what I'm going to do is under repository name, whoops. Under repository name, I'm going to give it the exact same name that I just gave my remote repository. So I'm going to call it Brianna decal. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down. We want to make this public. You can make it private, but just make it public. Okay. You can add a README. It is not essential right now, but it's recommended if you're going to work on bigger packages that you want a lot of people to look at. But this will kind of just be for you and your homework. Okay, then we're going to scroll all the way down, and we're going to click Create Repository. Then we should get a page like this. Okay, now this is a very, very important step. Otherwise, you will get an error on your computer. You need to make sure that you're on the SSH button, not the HTTPS. So it should not have HTTPS in the command. This is wrong. You want to have the SSH one. This is because SSH is how your computer confirms that you are the same person on the internet. SSH key is basically like a really, really fancy password. That's what you did when you followed those really, really weird instructions. You basically made a key on your computer and you made a key on the internet, and they can talk to each other. That way, your computer and internet profile knows you're the same person. So that way, if Charlie tries to access my computer, it won't work because Charlie's key doesn't match my key. Okay, so you need to copy this link, and then I'll tell you what to do. To copy that to your clipboard, you can just press this button. Okay, now we're going to go back to our terminal, and we are going to call. It's going to be kind of long. It's going to be git remote add origin. Then I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And I'm going to paste my link. So this is what it should look like. It's a really, really long command. I wrote git space remote space add space origin space my SSH key link. Do not use HTTPS. It will not work. Okay. Now that we're here, I'm going to, where'd my cursor go? I'm going to hit enter. Okay. Now I can check the connection by calling git remote -v. And it's going to tell me where my copy on my computer is and where the copy on the internet is. If you are not getting this message, if you're getting an authentication error, that's because you used the HTTPS link, not the SSH link. Is anyone not on this step? Or does anyone have any questions? Okay, gonna keep going. So what we've done is we've now linked our remote repository to our local repository. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to call it give me a name. Okay, we're going to call it your mom, not txt. Okay. All right. Then I'm just going to write your mom. And then I'm going to save it. This is exactly what we did yesterday. I'm called Nano. It opened up a text editor. Now I'm editing my file called your mom. Okay. Okay. I'm going to hit Y to save my changes. Okay. How do I check what exists in Brianna decal? What do I call? You know? Yep. Perfect. LS. Do you have a question? Okay, so I made a file called your mom. And I can see that by telling my computer to list everything inside of my Brianna decal folder. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to, you don't have to do this, but you can follow. if I go back to here and I refresh this, nothing happens, as it should. Nothing changes here because we've only made edits on our computer, not on the internet. But if I push my stuff from my computer to the internet, then this website will change. So we're going to do that together. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to call git add, and then I'm going to call period, and then enter. Okay, so git add is adding everything to my staging area. I'm getting ready to put it on the internet. Period tells my computer to just include everything in that folder. Everything. That's what period does. So I said, hey computer, use git to add everything to the staging area. That's what that command does. Okay, so that was step 1 of your 3 very, very important commands. What's command 2? It's on the slides. They're posted. Yep, git commit. So git space commit. But then I have to add -m. Then I have to add a little message. So I'm just going to say adding your mom.txt. Okay, so I told my computer, use git, commit what I want saved, and give it this little message so future me knows what I did. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter. Now my computer tells me, let me zoom out a little bit. Now my computer tells me that I have added 1 file and I have made 1 change. That was the line, your mom. And it even tells me what file I just committed. So if I call git status, which I probably should have done earlier to show you, sorry. It tells me, git status tells me the status of my repository, what I'm doing inside of this folder with superpowers that can record my progress. So if I call git status, it tells me where I am. So ignore that for now. Look at the second line. Nothing to commit. We're ignoring this. This means that everything inside of my repository is being tracked. So Git knows what I have done now. So if I call another command, I gotta remember what it is. I think it's, yeah, if I call git log --1 line, it tells me everything I've done inside of my repository. So all I've done is I've added this folder called your mom. Git will now let me go back in time and turn my repository back into when it didn't have this file. I can go back to that version, just like you can in Google Docs. Like if you delete your entire essay, you can go back to 3 minutes ago when you didn't do that. That's exactly what Git can do. This is your version history. Yeah, I hear a lot of people talking. So there must be questions.
What's the version history? Is it the last line or is it the ACC one?
Yeah, so this is a little message that tells me, basically it like flags what commit this is.
Oh.
So basically it's like I can go back if I type in git. I don't remember the command, but you basically can type in this little message and it'll go back to that commit. So I have hundreds of these. I could go back to the very first.
Do you get logged? How do you know what to type out? It's just always that.
Git log will spit you out a bunch of stuff. I like the formatting of -- one line. Like this is a flag. It basically manipulates what git log is doing, and I just like the way like it'll print out every single commit on one line. Question. Specific question. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have another question about what we've been doing up here? Yeah, I'll continue on.
Oh. Think you might need to do the gate part on it. Yeah.
Right, yours.
I don't know. That is weird.
Oh.
It's weird. It does seem like
I give up. I don't like to make them, but-
anyone else have
Okay. Oh, I think that's something I should. On Tuesday. There was a place. Some guys were cooking it. It's good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Email. What? Oh, they said that question can't. Yeah, you, yeah. Why is preference on? Yeah, but since it requires the packaging sponsor, you have to like. So yeah, you done research with somebody who will get you sponsor your. For this, otherwise you'd be I guess you could do.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. Maybe that was my fault. Oh yeah, during his lecture today, I was helping him fix it and I told him like what with like the big slug, the metal cylinder. About like force tension. Those along, it was like the agreement where like the ropes and the big slug. Yeah. There's a lot to like just know. Yeah. To memorize, get that, so they fall. Yeah. It's hard to know something.
Anyone else have other questions? Okay, I'm going to.
Yeah. Put it on a timer, so it's ready to go to the oh, you're
Okay, I'm gonna keep going for those who are lucky and have not run into any problems. Okay, so we have basically now we can access a version history of our code, but we're the ones that have to save it. Google Docs does it for us. Git, we have to do it ourselves. So we have to call git add, git commit, git push every single time we want to update this version history. Okay, next line I'm going to call is git push origin main. Then I have to type in my password. Cool. If you do not get this, Git's just being really mean to you, and I don't know why, but you should have gotten basically telling you that you have successfully put anything from your computer onto the internet. You have a problem? You also have a problem? You also have a problem?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It asked me where I was. So I did that. And they got me.
Okay, if you're running into the problem where it says like failed to push something, it's like in red, try git push origin master, not main. Try master. Sometimes it's weird. I don't know why the adders.
That worked.
It worked. Cool. Okay, cool. Okay, this is why we do 2 days of GitHub, because it's a pain.
It doesn't have that.
Okay. All right, so if we go back to the website and I press refresh, boom, there it is, your mom. We did it. Okay, so that is the really tedious, little bit annoying process of getting stuff from your computer to your to the internet, but that is the steps. Okay, so now we're gonna do something a little bit easier, but we're basically gonna take stuff from the internet and we are going to put it onto our computer. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to go back to the terminal and I am going to get out of Brianna decal. Do not be inside of your repository. Okay, this is a special repository, superpowers, and you don't want it to talk to any other repository. That might seem weird. Just don't mess with it. Okay, so I'm going to call CD, and to go up, I'm going to call ... Enter. Now I'm in Python decal. The original folder that we made together, Python decal, with Brianna decal, test, and test. Brianna decal is the special repository of superpowers that we can use to log our whatever we've done. Okay, inside of Python decal, not inside of Brianna decal, we are going to clone a repository from the internet. So what folder should we be in right now? Python decal. Should we be in this folder?
Oh.
No. Bad. Error 404. Okay. Now what I'm going to call is git clone. And I got to search up the link. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, you're gonna have to type this in yourself, but I'm gonna paste it here. Git clone, then this link. I will try and zoom in to the best of my ability. Can we read it in the back, or do you want me to make it bigger? Bigger? Okay, give me a second. Yep. Hold on 1 second. I will make this. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Okay, I can't make it any bigger. Sorry. Okay, I will read you the letters. Well, that might not be helpful. Okay, but this is the link you need to copy. I will give you a second because I got to cheat and copy and paste. It says git clone, then there's this link. Do you want me to read it?
No, I can read it, but like, I'm wondering if, like, the rest of it.
In other words, do we want to clone from yours or from our own?
Yeah, write this. Write exactly this. Yeah, so yours should have my name in it. Yeah, this is not yours. This is, you're accessing one of my folders. Yeah, so it should say Brianna. Essentially, you're just copying my work. Can I get a hands up if we're still typing it in? Yeah, one person.
So that.
Okay, I'm gonna hit enter.
No.
Cool. Now I've just copied this new folder called Brianna repo. So if I call ls, where's my cursor? Ah. There it is. Okay. So if I call ls, now I have 4 things inside of Python decal. Trying to kill me. Okay. I have Brianna decal, which should say your name. Then I have Brianna repo, which should have my name. Then you have these 2 weird, awkward other files. Specific question? Okay. Okay. So now you've taken something from the internet that I created. It should now live on your computer. However, you will not be able to save. You will not be able to edit the internet version of Brianna repo. Only I can do that. Only I have access because my SSH key matches. But you can still pull any changes that I make and get updates. Kind of like, you can think of it like Minecraft. You can't update the software that lives on their computers, but you can still download any updates that they put out to people. Okay, so that's what this is. So we're going to go inside. How do I do that? Yep, CD. Oh, I have 3 minutes. Okay, Brianna repo. Okay, if I hit LS, there's this cute little file called python.py. I'm going to open this file in VS Code. So I'm going to go, so open VS Code. Don't know why it went over there. Okay. Here's VS Code. Okay, now I'm going to go to open folder. I'll give you a second. We have 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go to open folder. Then I am going to go to Python or Brianna repo. And I'm going to open python.py. And I should have this code. You should have this on your computer. I wrote this on my computer, now it's on your computer. It's pretty cool. If you're a nerd. Okay. Run this and tell me what number you get. You remember how to do that? We did it like one time. What's the number?
15.
15, yes. Okay. If yours is not running, please either post it on EdStem or come to office hours. It's very important that you can get this stuff to run. Okay, so just to recap what we did today, I think that's all we're going to be able to get to. I don't want to cram anything else in. Let me just double check my notes. Yep, okay, so okay, this is going to be really fast, but we'll go over it more next time. So on your computer, you made a directory. You turned that directory into a repository. You took that repository, you made that on your computer. On the internet, you made another repository. Then you linked this repository with that repository. So now they're kind of the same thing and they can talk back and forth. So you can make changes on this copy and put it on the internet. So I can look at it, or anyone can look at it. Though you can't really find it on Google, it's really hard to Google repositories. Okay, then next thing we did was you had a repository on the internet that was mine. You took that and you put it on your computer. You downloaded it essentially. But you can't change the original version. Only I can do that. Unless I give you my SSH key. And then we took that Python file and we ran it in VS Code. Okay, what are your questions? Do you want me to repeat anything? Explain anything anymore? Okay, yes.
What's the difference between git add and git commit?
Good question. Okay, so basically, Git has this thing called a staging area. So essentially, when you call git add, you add it to the staging area. And in that area, you could add other files. You could get rid of files. It basically is a space to like roughly work in. We won't really work too much in it, but if you work with a lot of data, it might be more helpful. Then once you're in git commit, or once you get added, once you get commit, then it's saved. You get that little one line that I had with like the number attached to it that was green. That is now saved in your history, and you can go back to that saved point. It's like a checkpoint, like in a video game when you get to a save point. Essentially, you made one for your computer. Then, from that commit, you can then git push to put it on the internet. So 3 important commands: git add, git commit, git push. Those are like the life and the blood of GitHub. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for sticking through this. Go home. Or come ask me questions.
I also have on
Confused by
servers
GitHub.
right now,
Yes.
5. So it's third floor where our office hours always are. Go up there. I will meet you there in a few minutes.
That's a very famous green guy. You know who else gets confused by GitHub?
Right now,